Sorry if I do this now, and hope you don't mind putting my self-promotion now. I do this mostly to not interfere later on in the video, so hope you are okay with it, okay? Okay, so remember to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell to notice any of my videos. And follow me on my social media, please, I beg of you. That's all, now enjoy the video. Hey guys, and welcome to my dimension. As you can see in the title and the thumbnail, as well as in this video, hello, we are making a tier list of YouTube animators, with a total of 50 animators who focus on different themes. Let me scale it up for you to see them in detail. There we go. You may be familiar with some of these creators, maybe you heard their name somewhere, or you actually watched some of their videos. And the rest that you don't know, you might be asking yourself, who the fuck are these people? If that's the case, don't worry, I'll talk about each one of them in as much detail as possible so that you get to know them, as well as what I think of them, which is important in this video because it's a tier list. You may realize that doing that with a large number of creators might be a lot for one video. That's why this video will be the first part of 3 videos covering from the first animator on the list until the 24th one. The second part will be covering from the 25th animator up until 48th, and the last part will cover both Wolfie2 and Jordan. In this case, SWOOSH, because I already talked about them before, so I would have to see how much they changed in the time that has passed since I made their videos, which will take more time to talk about than the rest of people. By the way, in the description, I have left a link to the tier list so that you guys can make one of your own. Once I finish the video, I'll make a tweet with the final tier list, so be sure to put yours in there to compare our different views. I'll be looking them, like, I'm serious, I'll be looking them. Before I explain how I'm going to rank them, I need you to know that it's all just my opinion, okay? So don't start telling me that it's wrong because you believe someone should be higher or lower. If you disagree with any place, just let me know in the comments. I'll be sure to read them. And wherever someone places does not mean someone is better or worse than the rest. For example, if I were to put the odd ones out in D and GINGERPALE in E, that doesn't mean one is better or worse than the other. I'll give my reasons to why I put someone in that place below or above the other one when I talk about them. So be patient and wait to the reasoning, okay? Okay, now for how I will rank them, I will be taking into account the animations, backgrounds, drawing style, originality, and depending on what they do, how well do they execute their content. This feels like a simple review I will make, so you should be able to understand where I'm going with this tier list. I will also talk about their journey in YouTube, not all of it, but the most important part I will have to mention it, and some of their controversies, if they do have them, which won't influence their place unless it correlates with their content and YouTube stuff, which you'll see with some of them it does, so you'll see.
I forgot to say this, but my personal view and liking towards them will also have an influence, because not everything I say is objective, so that you don't get confused with some positions.
With all said, let's begin. Since the tier list is in an alphabetical order, the first one on the list is Alex MEYERS.
And I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.
Alex created his channel on July 9th of 2015, but began his channel on July 18th of the same year. Wow, 7 years have passed, that's a lot. Around this time, he used to make analysis type of videos about culture or shows/movies. He didn't start doing animated reviews of series/movies aimed at a young audience, like for example the ones from Disney, until 2 years later on November 21 of 2017 with one of his most reviewed series, Riverdale, and after that it's history. He is unique in this community for the fact that he uses animations to make reviews about movies and TV shows, which not many people do, and from those who do, they don't get that much traction, at least not compared to him, so props to him, very well. His art style did change from looking like Odd Ones Out to something less like Odd Ones Out. The concept is still there, it's literally the same, but with more bizarre expressions, which is also what he's looking for. And when it's animated, it looks great, but sometimes in some situations where he's only speaking normally, for me at least, it's a bit excessive. For the backgrounds, I can't really say much aside from the fact that some, if I read it correctly, do come from anime. The only problem is that the backgrounds are low quality, at least that's what I've been able to see with these pixels, despite it being in HD quality. There are other times that he does the backgrounds, and they look nice and easy, while the rest of the times are mostly the shows or movie clips he's going to be talking about. Therefore, taking all of them into account, I guess it's just fine for the most part. As a content creator, I believe he has a good job. He has established content, which is original and uncommon with animation community, but since his type of content doesn't appeal to me, I don't really see him. So because of that, I will put him on B. It's a good point to start on, a nice normal B. After Alex, we have ANDREI TERBEA.
My name, as you may know, is ANDREI TERBEA.
ANDREI, just like Alex, didn't have the same type of content at the start of his channel. He started his channel on April 30th of 2013. Wow, that's a lot of time ago. When he used to do tutorials, small animations based on stuff, like a lot of stuff, speed art, analog, etc. Until April 5th of 2018, where he did something similar to a story time, which got him to get noticed by many people after 5 whole years of content. After that, he started making similar videos to that one, but with the difference that instead of being about a story about himself, he takes a certain drama or current topic from the internet and talks about it with animation to keep it more entertaining. His animations and art style, both equally, haven't really changed as much as other creators on this list, which, considering how well they've been for a long time, the only thing he needed to do was polish it more, which worked quite well. For backgrounds, I can't really say anything besides the fact that it has been the same for who knows how much time, and this is like mimicking the pages of a notebook. It works really well, not gonna lie, it just works. I do believe it has to be high on the list. Not only does he use his animations for something much different from the majority, but his videos are really interesting and he covers most topics quite well. Not only that, but he's one of the few people I usually look up to when he uploads a video, because he's able to explain things in a logical and understandable way so that it never comes out as biased. Therefore, in my opinion, he is in A. The only problem I currently have with him is that, as of now, he hasn't uploaded anything yet. Now we have Billy Bad Better.
Be better.
Billy, unlike the other two that we talked about earlier, has always had the same content from the beginning, this being the story times. Although something to notice that he didn't start his channel around the time he created it, which was in April 8th of 2014. In fact, he started in March 14th of 2017, that being 3 years apart. Similar to me actually. I created my first video in 2020, while I created my channel way back in 2016. Like many animators here, he started being an almost identical copy of The Odd Ones Out, having minor differences overall. He himself mentioned in a video how he was inspired by Odd Ones Out, therefore it could explain why it's so similar, just like how everyone who started like that eventually made it more unique, so that it wasn't a mere copy. Despite not having that many videos, he was able to constantly change style in the small amount of videos he has. He went from Odd Ones Out 2.0 to something unique, and its style just shows how much it has been improved. This also applies to the animations. It got better, even though there isn't an actual animation. For backgrounds, it's actually a bit inconsistent. Some videos have backgrounds most of the times, some barely have them, and others just have a white background, so it's just okay. Although the ones he did in the last video looked great. He's another solid animator, with good videos and okay animation. Even if his content needs something common, he's enjoyable to watch, so I'll place him in B. The only real problem will be the schedule, which is non-existent. Kinda like mine actually. Coming up next we have CHILLYPANDA.
Hey guys, it's Chilly.
Chilly created her channel on April 18th of 2016 and started her channel 4 days later on April 22nd with a now deleted video. Yeah, when I was rewriting the script, I looked up and found out some videos were either deleted or privated. How do I know that? Well, because I had it written in this 1-year-old script when it was actually visible or the video was still up. Anyways, ever since her beginning on YouTube, she has been doing story times. Her animations and art style, both equally, have always been quite simple, which is neither bad nor good. It's just what she's more comfortable with. However, in the past, there was a time when she utilized 2 different art styles for a same video, which was rather odd because the quality differs between both of them. Luckily, she doesn't do that anymore and it's just a singular art style. It also improved heavily despite it being rather simple for so long, which is good. I personally do find her stories quite interesting. I did like them. However, her animations are something that I don't like as much. Not because they are bad, it's just that I like other animators' art style more. I don't wanna say it is bad because I know animation can be hard to do. That's why I don't do it myself. Something to mention that has merit is that she was one of the few people that had lip-sync in her animations, before many did afterwards, which is a plus and something to admire. For backgrounds, they are actually quite neat, and they got better over time with each new video, so that's good. CHILLYPANDA has potential, which she has been able to show with her progress through YouTube, but I feel as her art style doesn't stand out as much compared to other creators in the same list. Not only that, but it's been a year since her last upload, because she's now focused on her VTubing and streaming career. That's why, unfortunately, I'll put her in C, which on its own, C isn't even bad, it's right in the middle. Let's see if the video she hinted at a few months ago is able to be good, which from the previous she showed us, it looks quite good. Next up, we have CIRCLETOONSHD.
Stay safe, drink water, eat a sandwich.
Circle created his channel on December 15 of 2012, almost 10 years at the time of this recording, and began YouTube on the same day. Around this time, he did do animations, which he has been doing ever since. However, the way he does them now is different. Before, the videos were mostly shorts, or animations based on parodies or other YouTubers' funny moments. Like, for example, actually the only one he did about Game Grumps. After 4 years, he started doing this sort of a mix between animation and puppeting or some shit like that. I don't know how do you call that. In MS Paint, which is pretty unique on its own because I really haven't seen anyone do this previously. Although he also does like the animations everyone else does, you know, the typical 2D animations in longer videos. But it doesn't happen that often when you see the difference of time between those videos. He does pretty short videos, around 1 to 2 minutes, which makes it easier to see multiple per day. For the longer videos, he talks about certain video games and explains what they do great compared to others, or at least that's what I got from watching them. For the art style, despite his character and art style as a whole being quite simplistic, it's quite notorious the improvements made on it. Also, sorry for the quality because it's a screenshot of a camera recorder, which is how he records the video, so that's why the quality might not be the best. As for the animations and backgrounds, I can't really say much. The animations, like I said earlier, are like a mix of normal, in quotes, animation and puppeting, which doesn't really change at all, and for the backgrounds, most of the time is white, with some exceptions like this Minecraft video among others. Aside from that, the videos are hilarious. It made me laugh quite a lot, so it's really easy to get a chuckle out of it. So after all of that, I can safely say that he's in A, for being solid in all of points, aside backgrounds, and outstanding with his original style for videos. Now we have CURTRICHY.
What's up guys, my name's Curtis Richardson.
Kurt created his channel on November 16th of 2014, but he didn't start until 2 years later on June 24th of 2016. His content has always been around relationships-based topics, either with the looks of people, his reasons for doing certain things on the topic, and a long etc. However, there are times when he talks about other stuff, but it's mainly the relationship stuff. His stories are quite interesting actually. At first, I was expecting that his videos were gonna be more of the typical clickbait videos with oversaturated titles and the thumbnails and all of that, but after watching it, I do regret saying that. Never judge a book by its cover. However, sometimes I get confused with some of his videos, because sometimes he talks about why he does certain things and then does the same but with the opposite message, especially when they are both followed by each other, like this one. First video is about why he stopped hooking up with strangers, and the next one was about why he started doing it. I don't know, it's just a bit weird. Not only that, but many of the videos could be taken as controversial takes given just the video title. No wonder why in his channel headboard he has discussing things I probably shouldn't. That's honestly genius. His art style didn't really change. In fact, I would say that what he changed was the design of the characters, which you know, I honestly like that more, because the art style that he has is unique. It's like mimicking a sketchbook of drawings, but being digitally. Hopefully you know what I mean by that. Although, for some videos where he talks about his past experiences, he sometimes uses a different style that tries to mimic a manga type of vibe, which this one is also good. For the animations, they haven't really changed as much as I thought. They remain rather similar, just with a difference of time between them, showing the small improvements it did. As for backgrounds, most of them are rather neat, but they aren't colored, they are black and white, which considering some of his videos are meant to be giving the vibe of manga, I guess it makes sense for the backgrounds to do so, even with colored characters. That's the only thing that is rather odd. Now, for his placement, I was thinking to put him in between B and C, because I realized that he doesn't draw his stories or videos. However, he's been doing it since he started, so it's not that big of an issue. Unlike with someone that we'll talk about much later. And also, I'm not that into his type of content. Therefore, I guess I'll put him in B, but in the bottom of it. Yeah, I think that's the better middle ground between them. Next up, we have CYPHERDEN.
Hey guys, my name is CYPHERDEN.
Den created her channel on July 7th of 2012, although she didn't start her career until much later in September 5th of 2014. Before, she used to be an animator for funny moments and such, for people like PewDiePie and his group of friends at the time, as well as some tutorials to draw to help people to get started, or used to have, because they no longer are in display. She wouldn't start Storytime animations until March 19th of 2017, which is when her channel started to grow much more. Both her animations and art style have suffered a lot of changes back and forth. Well, mostly the art style, but since that also affects the animation, then both did. Anyways, one thing is having, a couple of changes, not a whole gallery of art styles, like what is this, look at this. She did do a video talking about this same topic, which I can't understand. To sum it up, the reason is basically that she gets bored of drawing the same and also loses focus while working on it. Because of that, she tries new styles to be focused and entertained. I can understand if sometimes you get bored of doing the same things over and over, but to do it almost all the time seems a bit odd. Can't really know if to expect something great or mediocre. Also, some videos might look a bit much simpler compared to the rest, and that's actually because she gave less effort on those, as stated in a comment to a video of TurkeyTom where he talks and criticizes the animators.
I forgot to say this, but she did say in that same video comments that the reason is actually because of YouTube algorithm, which fucking sucks. Although it would be better if she took a bit more time than a couple of days.
So overall, it is a bit mixed. There's really good videos, both with the story itself and with the animation, while also having some mediocre videos in the animation part at least, which actually sucks as her stories are quite interesting and neat. As for backgrounds, same thing really. For videos with more simpler art style, they are more simple, but they still look nice. And for the ones with more effort, they are honestly quite good. I'm really impressed. For a fun fact, then also does VTubing like Chilly, even if lately hasn't been that active on it, and also is part of the Recreo group alongside Kurt and another person that we'll talk about much later. A fun coincidence, I will say. I did say that I was mixed with some of her stuff, so placing her is gonna be a bit tricky, so let's just put it like this. Den often does some videos much more simpler or with less effort done, but usually does more videos which are quite good, meaning that the better stuff she does outdo the more mediocre ones. So maybe the best placement is in B, above Kurt, mostly because I find her videos more interesting for my liking. Coming up next, we have DAIDUS.
No! Squid neutral!
DAIDUS created his channel on November 1st of 2015, but began a bit later in August 15th of 2016. His channel has always been about story times, with some exceptions, so it would be easy to talk about him, right? His art style has always been quite simple and has barely changed, mostly getting a bit cleaner over time because he got used to doing it, although the lining being blue instead of the usual black is quite unique and nice. This also goes for his animations because I wasn't able to find much differences besides the fact that it got better. For backgrounds, there isn't much to say. There are occasions where he doesn't use anything for backgrounds and it's completely a single color, usually white obviously, but there are often times that the background looks quite neat, so overall it's fine. His stories are interesting and his charm and funny way of telling the stories makes it even better. Therefore, you'll probably enjoy these videos a lot. Now for the real problem. A while ago, a guy named DANPLAN, probably heard of him if you have been following the animation community for a while, made a video calling out DAIDUS, where he shows the fact that he traced artworks, memes, real people even, for some parts of his videos. The main issue of this was that he had graduated from an art class, as well as having a DeviantArt where he showcased generally great artworks he made. Therefore, it makes you question why he even did that. The reason why he did that was because he procrastinated procrastinated when doing his videos and tries to save some time in his videos. If that wasn't enough, there are times where his procrastination made part of some videos lose quality because he just didn't want to give it time and just wanted to release the video. You might be asking,
Diego, is there a reason he procrastinated or just didn't give it enough time?
aside from procrastinating because he was lazy, there is another reason for that, which is quite annoying. He wanted to play video games, especially League of Legends. You gotta be fucking kidding me with that. Either way, after that video came out, he obviously apologized. I wasn't able to find the apology of him, so if I manage to find it, I'll put it on screen right now. And also stop tracing. I think sometimes I'm not even sure if it's traced or not, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Also, I'll link the video in question in case you are curious and want to see the whole thing in more detail. So you see, it's hard to place him because if we are taking into account the fact that he traced in many of his previous videos as well as losing quality in some mid-video, should I not take them into account and just go with 16 of the 38 videos that he currently has now? I'll probably just take into account what he genuinely did in those videos, plus his newer ones after his face reveal, which is the last video he did before getting called out. And by that, I feel as if he should go to C, below Chilly. That whole thing truly did give him a mark in my opinion, even if it was probably forgotten or ignored by most. Next up, we have DANPLAN.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Daniel, the one behind DANPLAN, created his channel on July 13th of 2014 and started a few weeks later on August 2nd of 2014. Around that time, his channel didn't have a clear direction of what he wanted it to be about, so they tried lots of stuff until something stuck the landing. But even then, the first video was an animation of Now, one of his most watched and well-known series, by the way. However, it was slightly different to what it is now or was, because he no longer does that series. So nowadays is something similar but with a bit of a change, which we'll get to later. Like I said before, the one behind DANPLAN is Daniel, but he actually has a huge team of people who work alongside him. Animators, editors and voice actors, let's just say the people who appear in the video. Among them, the most important ones were
Hosa,
one, Steven, being in almost all of the videos, if not all of them. Their type of videos are quite unique. They use animations to create stories or situations based on questions or stuff that Daniel says throughout the video, which hasn't changed that much since they did them a few years back. For the animations and art style, I can't really point out specific changes or anything to consider improvement besides the animators themselves getting better, like everyone really. Which that's the thing, since there are plenty animators in their team, the quality differs between them, so I can't say much besides they look quite nice with style changes from time to time. The backgrounds also fall in this, so I'm not gonna say anything different. Now for the elephant in the room. A few years ago, Steven, one of the most beloved members of the DANPLAN team, and Daniel had some issues between them. Mostly financial issues. Both Dafpina and The Right Opinion, as well as DANPLAN and Stephen themselves, made videos about this whole mess when it happened. I'll try to summarize all of it, but if you guys want, I'll leave links to all their videos that go into much detail. Well, for starters, Stephen initially didn't want to receive money from all the videos he made in DANPLAN, because he viewed it as a hobby, but eventually, seeing how much traction it got, he redacted his previous argument and asked for his cut. Daniel refused, considering he believed that compared to the animators and editors, didn't do anything to help out, despite his charisma in all of his videos. Then other stuff happened with the payment of animators, how Daniel views everything as business and all of that, which you can see in the videos. Eventually, Steven left the team. Aside from that,
Hosa,
another pretty beloved person of the team, left for more personal reasons, as well as in part because of this whole mess. This whole thing did make the channel have a bit of an identity crisis, where Daniel tried to experiment with new stuff once he finished his By the Way series, although he would eventually come back to a similar formula of his previous series, just with different people and also a new name. Can you survive? I feel like most fans already know that it doesn't feel like the old times, which left a big mark after that whole mess of situations. So in terms of placement, if we were talking about the previous DANPLAN with Steven Aum.
Hosa.
I'll probably place him around B to even A, but after losing them, most of the charm of the channel was lost in my opinion. Now it's just him trying to replicate what made them great in the past. So I'll move him to C, below DAIDUS. Even if DAIDUS had his issues in the past, similar to DANPLAN, he didn't change much, nor did he lose all the charm of and what made him good besides the tracing. Therefore he's above DANPLAN. Coming up next we have DOMICS.
Well, hey there, hey stranger.
DOMICS created his channel on August 11th of 2012 and started 2 days later on August 13th of the same year. Ever since he started, he has been making animations to the point he reached 100k in less than a year, which around that time was quite an achievement. DOMICS has been one of the major parts for the growth of the YouTube animation community, especially the Storytime community, alongside others that I'll talk about much later. His art style is quite simplistic, yet quite phenomenal at the same time. Just like many animators, with time the art style got cleaner and smoother, and also gained colors after a while, which is quite neat. The animations were quite basic at first, but it had great and actual animation, which many didn't do at first until much later, or just didn't, which is the majority of people now that I think about it. Nowadays, he does get some help from other additional animators, and that's kinda normal with the more popular animators, which on its own is not really a problem considering he's still the main animator. For the backgrounds, I feel like there is a lack of backgrounds, at least sometimes, but even then there are some that look rather neat. As for the stories, I do enjoy them. I relate some of his stories quite well. I especially like when he gives some morals to the story, which does help get a better understanding of the topic, or at least that's what I felt it was about. You know, I didn't even know I actually watched him before making this video. Even though I remember when I started watching YouTube animators, I watched a ton of different ones. I'm glad I remember and glad that I started. Recently, like 8 months ago for now, he did say he was taking a break from YouTube, meaning that he wouldn't be animating until, who knows, for personal reasons as well as probably mental burnout, which is understandable considering he has been doing that for 10 years by now. So taking this into account, it is true that as of now, he hasn't done anything, which could mean he goes in no longer animates. But keep in mind, he's taking a break, so for now it's an indefinite break.
Well, this segment didn't age. He recently, and by recently I mean 3 months ago, came back. So, now.
Although he does stream on Twitch sometimes, in case you want to know what he's up to lately, I feel like he should be on the top of A, just because of how big of an influence he had in the Storytime community, and the animation community as a whole in YouTube. Not sure if he's in the range of S, but definitely in the top of A. Next up, we have EMIRICHU.
I haven't seen. Hey.
Emily created her channel way back on June 12th of 2011, but she wouldn't start her channel until May 24th of 2017. That's almost 6 years apart. At first, I thought her content was mainly just story times, with different types of videos from time to time, which is true to some extent, but it's more varied with animatics, sketchbook showcases, among others. Emily has been part of the community for 5 years, and since then she has grown quite a lot, and is still going, which is nice to see. Her art style is quite nice, and it had a drastic yet nice glow up. It might look like the typical anime style, which it kinda is, but I just think it looks really pretty and really good. I don't think I can think of her with any other style after watching her for so long. Although there is a bit of inconsistency with how she wants to show her drawings. Sometimes they are full colored, other times just the hair, and other times not at all. So what's that about? It would be nice to keep a bit of consistency from time to time and then change for something
new.
For the animations, in this case, she herself says that she doesn't do animations because she isn't an animator herself. This is actually something I'll have to talk about in the end of the tier list, which is a problem in the community. So most of the actual changes are mostly editing and the art itself. For the backgrounds, there isn't really much to it. Most of the time it's just a white background, although she at least adds adds the structures or something like that to still feel like it's a background despite it being white. I started watching her about
4.
years ago. She was my second introduction to the community, which got me hooked up to watch more of her. I'm really glad I got recommended to watch one of her videos. I wouldn't be doing this video if it weren't for her and 2 other people really. For a fun fact, just like Chilly and Den, she started doing streams as a VTuber in Twitch, which does it from time to time, which doesn't affect her animation channel whatsoever, unlike someone else I know, and trust me, it collides a lot with the animation channel. With all said, I believe she's in A easily. If it wasn't for the inconsistency with the coloring for the videos, and also sometimes the lack of backgrounds, I'd probably put her on S, but it is what it is, so I'd put her below DOMICS. I believe DOMICS is like the gatekeeper to S, he is almost in the same range of those in S, that it only makes sense to keep him above even Emily, really hoping to see more of her. Next animator is EROLDSTORY.
Funny update for ya.
Erold created his channel on April 10th of 2016 and began a month later, May 10th of the same year. Like his name implies, most of his content is about the story times, with some more different exceptions like dubbing, which is rather uncommon for a channel that isn't fully dedicated to that. His art style isn't something crazy or out of this world, yet it does look nice. Depends on the execution of it and how it fits the narration of his stories, which it does. However, sometimes it truly bugs me to see the characters with the same eye color to the skin. It's really weird, especially considering that in the thumbnails you see them with the actual color of the eye, which happens in his newer videos. Besides that, it's pretty nice. His animations are quite enjoyable to watch. You definitely don't waste any of your time watching him, and you'll probably find his videos funny if you understand his type of humor, that is. He did get better with them with time, which you can see clearly. For backgrounds, he uses stock footage for his videos, rather than making his own with one section, or just having a white background most of the time. Maybe he uses them too much, but that's possibly just me. The stories, as enjoyable as they are, sometimes they drag a little too long. That leads into having many parts of one whole story, which some aren't even finished as of now. He does have other problems, like the management of his schedule of videos. It's so inconsistent that it's now an inside joke in his own channel, so he even knows that.
Diego, I don't think you are in the position of saying that, when you yourself have an inconsistent schedule.
I know. It's just that it takes me so much time to make these videos. Recently, however, in his latest video, as of now, he addresses this issue and talks about how he had some health issues, something to do with his size as well as personal life. So it's understandable, and I'm sure that a lot of popular YouTubers have gone through something similar to this. I do believe that he, as a whole, is good enough to be placed in B, in the lower part of it, but still in B, maybe behind Kurt, just for the simple reason of more consistent uploads. Hopefully he's able to come back eventually. He does have intentions to do so, therefore he won't go to the no longer class animation section for now. Now we have GETMADZ.
Penis. Now you can roll for credits.
Mads created his channel on August 31st of 2012, but started way later on February 2nd of 2017, almost 5 years later. He started being a storytime animator until December 18th of 2018 when he would make his last storytime, and on February 8th of 2019 he would start making videos about video games and video games related stuff. His art style has changed quite drastically, even if you would consider it quite simplistic. The changes are quite noticeable and a quality of life change. Recently, he redesigned it once again, and he gave it more details, as well as a nose, which looks a bit odd. It's like if you were to give a nose to a character like Krillin, who has been without a nose since the series was created, therefore it looks a bit weird at first. Overall, it looks nice. It's probably a matter of getting used to, even if it was already fantastic just the way it was before. Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I just updated this script to add the redesign to get redesigned again? Well, at least it didn't change that much. His animations are quite nice looking. The small details, the movement, the expressions, the movement, the way he illustrates everything. Did I say the movement? He has improved quite a lot since he made his first video. Honestly, it's like if two different people made each video. That's how crazy it is, the change. For the backgrounds, I can pretty much say the same thing. A lot of them, if not all of them, look quite clean, amazing and really highly detailed compared to before at the start when he used to mostly have a single colored background or stock photos from time to time. This is a really great change. He does have some additional help from time to time with some parts of the video, but they are mostly secondary artists, as he implies, meaning that he does most of it himself. I personally do find his videos enjoyable to watch, with both the visuals and the commentary that has been able to make me laugh now and then, so you'll have a good time watching him, especially if you like video games and mostly Nintendo ones. I think that GETMADZ will be in A. For now, the only thing that bugs me a bit is the change in art style or character design, which needs a bit to get used to. Therefore, I leave him in A low EMIRICHU. Like I said before, since DOMICS is like the gatekeeper to S and Emily was much closer to being S, I guess he should be in here. I also like his content more than ANDREI and Circle. Alright, next up we have GINGERPALE.
Couldn't have done anything wrong. I'm a good boy.
Ginger created his channel on August 4th of 2014 and started a few months later on November 19th of the same year. Ever since he started to this day, he's been doing a few things, from original animations to storytime videos, even a few songs. Therefore, he does a little bit of everything. His art style changed quite a lot, and he now has one that resembles Terminal Montage, which is someone we will talk about later. This art style works really well with his animations, being simplistic yet really expressive and colorful, which mixes quite well with his videos and comedy. His animations also changed quite a lot. In a Q&A video he did, he said that his previous animations were bad, which I mean, compared to how he does them now, it's obviously better. But even so, for back then, when he was just getting started, it's not bad at all, quite the opposite. The videos are also rather short, rarely having videos that go beyond 7 minutes, so you are able to see them whenever you feel like it, especially since they are quite funny and enjoyable. The backgrounds are also quite fantastic, really unique, really colorful, and I'm out of compliments, so yeah, they are really good. He really puts a lot of effort into them. The only issue I could see with him is the schedule, which he did say he was going to start doing a monthly upload. And well, who would have guessed that didn't happen? Although it seems as if he's uploading each 3 months, which is fair enough and actually really good for a single animator to do that. I guess I have nothing then, so scratch all of this, I guess. Taking all of this into account, I think he should be placed in A, below GETMADZ and above Circle and ANDREI. I think I like GETMADZ content more since I'm really into Nintendo and video games, while I prefer GINGERPALE to the other two, simply for preference. Wow, there's more in A than what I thought at first. That means that there's lots of high quality channels out there. Hopefully it stays like this. Coming up next we have GINJANINJAOWO.
Hello, I'm Reagan.
June, that's their actual name, created their channel on September 4th of 2011 and started a month later on October 16th of the same year, making them one of the very first animators on YouTube, being 11 years since they started. Their content is really varied. They have maps, multi-animator projects, not the other word please, speed paints, AMVs, meme animations, story times, animatics, among many others. Although nowadays most of their content is speed paints with some different videos from time to time. Their art style is a bit tricky to see how much it changed, considering that unlike the rest of animators here, they don't use their OC ray all the time, as their content, like I said, is really varied, which means that it's not always gonna have their character in it. But anyway, I tried putting down all the ones I could see, so all in all, it did have a big change since their first design, looking completely different now, and it looks quite nice. Their animations, it's similar to what I said before with the art style, but besides the speed paints, which obviously don't have anything to do with animations, and animatics, which is a visual representation of where there has to be animation, although there are some fragments that are animated for some reason. We can talk about the rest of stuff. So all in all, I was able to see really nice works of animation. I was really impressed by the smoothness and natural movement it had. Feels really nice to see, and a bit of a shame they don't do it too often. The backgrounds look really nice as well, without considering the speed paints and animatics, of course. Mostly because they don't have one at all, besides maybe some color changes. I really like their studio background, it looks really nice. I'm not that into their content, since speed paints aren't that entertaining for me to see, which they have been doing for some time by now. I did enjoy some of their story times, however, especially the one about their dad, a really emotional one, which I could say the same for mine. I think Jun is a solid animator that should be placed in top of B. Alex's content isn't something I'm that into, similar to Jun, but with them I enjoyed quite a lot some of their videos, like I said before, that's why they are higher. The next animator is Ice Cream Sandwich.
I don't know.
Andy, that's his actual name because it feels weird to call him a food, created his channel on February 10th of 2016 and started a couple of months later on May 16th of the same year. Despite being for some time in the platform, he hasn't done that many videos, has 34 as of now, and his content really goes about anything he wants. Sometimes it may be about story times, other times about random stuff, so it is a bit unclear of what he really does. So I guess it's varied to some extent. His art style is, for now, the most simplistic one. In fact, it got more simplistic with each new art style. I did say this before, but just in case, simplistic doesn't mean bad. In fact, sometimes it's better to do something more simple that you are comfortable with, rather than a highly detailed one that takes the life out of you to make. Alright, anyways, similar to GINGERPALE, his new art style kinda reminds me of Terminal Montage, which makes it good automatically, no matter what. Also kinda strange how it happened twice already. The animations do look quite neat, as well as really funny. Wouldn't you know, it has movement, that alone makes me happy. They aren't the smoothest animations out there, but considering how his animations reflect on the idea of making it look funny or goofy, it is better like that. There are no backgrounds. Everything you see on his videos is the white void, a place that everyone starts but all move on eventually. Andy on the other hand didn't. It's fine if you personally don't want to, but it would be nice if there were at least some colors, rather than having white all the time. It feels empty seeing always the white void. I personally would say the stories he tells are interesting, that give an enjoyable time throughout the whole video. Therefore, you won't regret seeing his videos. With all said, I do think he's overall a good example of a solid channel. It has both ups and downs, mostly the backgrounds, but despite that, it's still able to maintain itself pretty nicely. I'll put him in B above Jun just because his content is more enjoyable for me. Next, we have ILLYMATION.
Alright, who's here for the chaos?
Illy created her channel way back on September 1st of 2013 and started much later on January 16th of
2018.
Her channel is mostly about story times, however she does have some different videos from time to time, like songs and in real life stuff. Her art style has remained mostly the same, with some minor changes, mostly stuff like the feet having more details and actually matching the art style better did look a bit off at the time, compared to the rest of the body at least. Besides that, it looks pretty nice. Her animations are quite good, they look really nice from a visual standpoint, they have movement, thank god, and it has been like this since she started, which makes it even better, and it obviously got better with time. The backgrounds look really nice, they are highly detailed, colorful and contrast really nicely with the art style. Similar to other popular people in here, she does have a small team or group of people that helps her do parts of the video, either with the editing, background assets, animations, among other stuff. Yet she is still the main animator for her videos. Her stories were quite interesting, I did like some of them. At first, before I had intentions of making this video, I only knew Illy for making those videos about her ex and collabs with other people, so I'm glad I got to see more than just that. I did have an issue watching her older videos, while she was narrating her stories or any other video for that matter, when they didn't have background music. I know it sounds dumb, and you maybe are asking me,
Diego, what's the issue with that? Can't she just do it with no background music?
it's not that she can't. However, the lack of music, whenever she wasn't talking, it formed some uncomfortable silence, which as realistic as that was, it didn't work quite well in videos.
Well, I'm sure if he really did punch you, that he'd be fired. Punching is wrong.
Duh. Oh my god, why am I even friends with you? Hey, don't use the Lord's name in vain. We're in a holy place.
In short, no music made it look a bit weird at some points. Luckily, she started using music after a while. A bit repetitive music, but still welcome. Besides that, it was really interesting to see her videos. Taking all of it into account, I'll probably place her in B. I had some issues that made it harder for me to get through her videos, but in later videos she was able to fix them and continuously keep improving them. Therefore, I believe that she should be above Billy and below June. Let me make a small change with Alex. I'm not that into his content, therefore I'll put him below Billy. Anyways, since it is unpredictable to know when Billy will upload a video, it makes Chilly go higher, just for consistency, and I would consider her equal to June rather than below, but still place June higher just for preference. Now we have Infamous SWOOSH.
Thank you for watching.
God bless.
SWOOSH created his channel on February 7th of 2016 and began his channel a month later on March 4th of the same year. Something to note is that he probably was one of the youngest people, only being 14 years old at the time, while he is now 21 years old. That's crazy. His content for the most part goes about story times, as he began in the era where story times were at their peak. Even so, he did also have other types of videos, such as Q&As, shorts, among others. His art style did have major changes and a lot of improvements over the years. It always had a very simplistic direction from the very first one to this day. The first designs do remind me of those of Chilly, noticing how they started as beginners and improved over the years. I also noticed that most of the changes throughout 2017 or so were just the way it was shaded, which changed by each new video. Besides that, there weren't many changes besides obviously having a major glow up. His animations got much better as well. It's still crazy for me to believe that he was 14 when he animated those videos. When I was 14 or so, I was only able to record a screen and call that a video. Sadly, I don't have them anymore in my YouTube channel, so I can't show any footage of that. Anyways, comparing the animation of then and now is like these were made by two different people. The smoothness of the new one with lots of movement is impressive, as before it was mostly like having PNGs changing from time to time, which hey, not saying that is bad considering he was just a beginner. The backgrounds did have a huge change. Before, it used to be either white backgrounds, which it was expected around the time, or some backgrounds he made which did look quite neat, but nothing that spectacular. The new ones look fascinating, and I guess part of that is because he now has a team of people helping him out. Animators, background artists, and a thumbnail artist, which is good as he is still an animator as well. Before, I made a comparison with Chilly about the art style. Well, those similarities don't end there, as both also had lip sync in the very first video they made, which like I said before, not many people did, so it's impressive they were able to pull that out. Honestly, I find his videos really funny. It made me chuckle more than I was expecting to, but I wasn't expecting to laugh, so I guess that shows how good his content is, or how bad my humor is. I want to believe it's because of his content, so you'll probably have a good time watching him. Taking all of this into account, I think I'll probably place him in A between GINGERPALE and CIRCLE, so let me make a change here in ANDREI's placement. The reason for this is mostly because I find CIRCLE's content more entertaining. For SWOOSH, I don't find him as funny as Ginger, but I do more than CIRCLE. So basically I place them based on how entertaining they are to me, because otherwise they are pretty equal in my opinion. Next, we have Alex Clark. In case you are wondering, he was called It's Alex Clark when I was making the video, but changed it to simply Alex Clark, so that's why I didn't talk about him sooner.
So this story is gonna have a happy ending.
Alex created his channel on December 2nd of 2009 and began his channel 5 days later on December 2nd of the same year. His channel has suffered many changes ever since he started, especially content direction. Even though he started in 2009, he wouldn't start his animation content until November 21st of 2012. His content is rather varied, filled with story times, series, and much more. His videos were alright for the most part. I personally didn't find them as enjoyable as the ones I watched previous to him, but I can see why some did. In this case, his animations, art style, and backgrounds suffer the same amount of changes, but not in a positive way, which I'll talk about in a bit. His art style used to look pretty simplistic at the beginning. At some point, even if it was simplistic still, it looked much cleaner with the added details, which was what made him so recognizable. However, now it's like his older style with cleaner visuals, which I believe it's a downgrade. His animations, on the other hand, started being really simple with bare movement and some okay lip sync. The animations got better around the same time his art style changed for the better, with really smooth and fluid movement, great lip sync, and honestly a better direction which got better with each new video. Now, the lip sync is still intact, but the animation became way more stiff compared to before. So again, it's a middle ground between his oldest and previous animations. And for his backgrounds, it's more simple. Before, he didn't used to have backgrounds for the most part, and the ones he had were fine for the most part. Later on, they got much better, not something crazy, but still better, and there were more throughout the video. Now he pretty much doesn't even use backgrounds, at least for now. There's a reason for why the quality of videos has decreased, which is rather sad. During the time his channel started to truly pick up, he had animators that helped him with he contracted. It was thanks to them that Alex was considered one of the faces of the animation community around the time. However, in the last few years, he was slowly started to lose visibility in general, and that meant that his income from YouTube was even less than before, which didn't allow him to keep on paying his animators and had to let them go. There are also reasons as to why he may not be as relevant as before. On the one hand, he lacked innovation on his channel, especially because once he finished a series that made him known by a lot of people, the babysitter one, those same people lost interest in him, and since he never tried anything new in terms of content but rather tried a similar formula, people eventually got tired and stopped watching him. On the other hand, we have the whole Jaiden situation of VidCon 2016. Around this time, she still was an anonymous creator and asked Alex to have her face edited out from his blog, which she herself edited. But in the end, Alex decided to post the original, despite Jaiden's wishes. There was also something else related to Jaiden, which had to do with a drawing or animation of Jaiden crying eating pizza that he made. The issue here was that Jaiden has a problem of eating disorder or anorexia, which he also probably knew about and still decided to do it. The issue could have been prevented if he changed the name or replied something else like Jaiden cries over her pizza slice being eaten or something like that, but oh well.
Hey Diego, seems like Alex made a video talking about those situations from his side.
Really now?
Yeah.
Who would have guessed? Right after I write that on the script, Alex does a video talking about those situations. So let's talk about it. All in all, I think that video did make things a bit clearer. However, I still feel as if he's in the wrong in this situation. For starters, this public apology took 7 years to come out, which by now is irrelevant, at least towards Jaiden, and also because he has lost a lot of relevancy for this to matter. Besides, I also believe part of the reason he did this was because of the comments that people put him regarding this situation, which I don't condone, but also think he's being petty for doing the video because of just that when he decided to stay silent for this long. To add up, I still don't really get why Alex decided to not use Jaiden's edited video, even if his reason was that it looked silly. It still was her request to not have her face shown, so it feels a bit odd. Alex also said that he didn't understand why Jaiden felt so bad when he uploaded the video in spite of getting her consent. But what he doesn't realize is that in her video, talking about it, she explains that
edited the video for them and explaining the story behind it wasn't enough. I came to the conclusion I couldn't do anything else to change their mind and let them post it.
Also, the whole face reveal tag being used and the video title being centralized on Jaiden felt even more odd. As for the drawing one, he said that around the time it happened he simply forgot. She had those issues, so I guess it's more excusable. But the other one, I don't think even the reasons he gives are really good, especially to justify the reason he uploaded the video in the first place. Taking all of it into account, I believe that he is no longer what he used to be. Not that he was that great before, at least in my opinion, but he was somewhat better than now. The lack of innovation innovation and the mistakes that could have been prevented to him losing a lot of relevancy compared to those people he used to work with, which yes, it means that most of them don't even work nor talk with him anymore. Sadly, because of this, I'll put him on D, which is not bad per se, but I was expecting more from someone who was considered the face of the animation community at some point. Coming up, we have Ivan Animated.
Ivan Animated.
Ivan created his channel on December 30th of 2015 and began not so long later on January 18th of 2016. His content has always been varied, doing anything that he feels like, such as short animations, real life stuff, video game related videos and storytime, which is what he did the most. His art style didn't change that much throughout the years. In fact, the most I can say about it is that it got better with line art, getting much cleaner. But in his more recent videos, his avatar did get a major glow up, looking much better with unique clothes, and yeah, honestly there's not much change beside that, and the fact that it got much cleaner. Again, his animations also didn't change much, just got better with time, although his animations do give me the vibe of Newgrounds animations, with all those face changes that he does throughout the videos, which I like very much. His more recent videos, whenever his avatar is in the main focus, I feel like the movement feels a bit clunky, as it moves from side to side while everything else changes normally. I like it more before personally. For the backgrounds, well, it's a bit complicated. I think there are some videos that do have backgrounds, but for the most part, most videos don't have backgrounds. Well, actually, it is something similar to what I said in Emily's part. Even though it is white or other colors, for the most part, he draws the setting, not sure how you call that, let's just say the structure of the place. So it's fine, at least it is not just white and that's about it. So yeah, it's okay. Like I said before, his animations remind me of those that were posted in Newgrounds a long time ago, which I used to watch when I was younger. Because of that, I like watching these videos. They were also quite entertaining, so that's a plus. So, I feel like Ivan has a lot of potential and that he's really entertaining to watch. The only thing I feel he's lacking on is probably the backgrounds, which honestly at this point almost every people I talk about has that. Although it's been almost a year and a half since he uploaded anything, and it doesn't seem like he's going to come back anytime soon. Not only that, but now he's working in the Recreo channel, alongside Kurt, CYPHERDEN and Rural Aesthetic. If it wasn't for his inactivity, I would have put him in B, between Illy and Billy. But for now, he'll be in No Longer Does Animation. For clarification, when I put someone in here, I'm not saying that they aren't animating anymore, just saying they are no longer animating for their channels or that they don't upload. You know what, maybe I should change it to No Longer Uploads instead. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. There, now it should be more clear. Next one is JACADAMIA.
Lemon.
Jaka created his channel on June 11th of 2015, but began a year later on August 6th of 2016. His channel never had a specific content focused on, as he did a lot of different things, such as story times, short animations, video game discussion, and even music. So it's quite the variety he has, especially with the low amount of videos. His art style is quite neat. What changed the most was the character design, which the first one felt more like his interpretation of himself animated, and now it's a completely unique design that works perfect as a mascot for his channel. And I guess the style direction going from a more basic style to one that resembles a cartoonish look, I think. At least that's what I felt when comparing them. His animations, I can simply say that it got much better and cleaner, and also added more movement in between frames compared to his previous works. Although there was one video he did a while back that perfectly mimicked the real life movement, which is impressive. You can also tell that might have taken ages, explaining why he didn't do that again. The backgrounds actually did have somewhat of a change since he started. Originally it used to simply be white like all. Afterwards it started to have more colors, sometimes even abstract, quite sure, or more unique backgrounds. Although now it seems like he mostly uses the squares backgrounds, which is alright, but I would prefer more variety with backgrounds. I did find his videos interesting, although I don't feel that he stands out that much, sadly. I will say, even after all that he went through, like his vocal paralysis and his brain surgery, it's really admirable that he's still getting even better with his content and animations. It's honestly fascinating, and I hope he tries to even more with this. Overall, I feel like he's solid. He does his thing, his videos are interesting, and his animations do look rather neat. So I believe placing him in B between Den and Kurt is a good place to put him. I think Den's content stands out a bit more than Jacka's content, at least for me, and I also find Jacka's content more interesting to my liking compared to Kurt's. Now we have Jaiden Animations.
That's a demand. Okay, bye, I'm done now.
Jaiden created her channel way back on February 17th of 2014, but began a bit later on July 24th of the same year. Around the time she started, her content used to be mostly about the storytimes, as she was, alongside the odd ones out, the ones that made storytime really popular and that also influenced many creators to have their start in YouTube. Although as of now, it seems as if moved from doing storytimes to doing videos surrounding video games, similar to Mads. With that I mean the change. Her art style has always been quite simplistic, even nowadays. However, that doesn't mean it didn't get better, quite the opposite actually. Before it used to be rather basic, not bad, just what you expect from someone beginning animation, but gradually it started to get much better and more stylized. Her animations from the very start, I feel as they were really good. Obviously not as much as they currently are, but at the time the animations had quite nice movement, lip sync, and it was almost at the same quality of more current videos. Her more recent videos are obviously much better, like I said, as they got much cleaner, the movements are smoother, and they also got more creative with visualization. Okay, so the thing with her backgrounds is that some videos and or some moments through her videos, she does have backgrounds, some at least, which do look nice and clean, but for the most part she doesn't have backgrounds and it's just entirely white, which is a shame considering that those backgrounds do look rather neat and it could be better to put them throughout the video more than just a couple moments. For the most part, most of this quality of life improvements come thanks to the huge team of people that started working on her videos around 2018 more or less, although I'm still not sure what Jaiden's role on her videos is after the more recent years, as she never states what each person does, nor herself, unlike previous people I talk about, so I'm just gonna guess she works on each part overall.
Okay, so I just found out that in some of her videos she actually did put what each of them do in the credits, including her, so I suppose is like this all the time. I should have researched better.
I personally really enjoyed watching her videos. However, her more current ones that are more focused on games aren't really my thing, or rather don't find it as entertaining. Mostly because the games it tackles, I have watched them being talked about in other channels which I liked more, or simply don't find much attachment to those. Either way, with that I don't want to say they are bad, just that I don't enjoy them as much as her story times. Taking all of this into account, even if she lacks a bit in the background department, I still believe she's a great animator that does put out great content almost every time she uploads. Aside from that, if it wasn't for her and consequently odd ones out, we probably wouldn't have most of the animators on this list, as most of them began on the boom of storytime that was created by them. Therefore, just along with that, I'll make Jaiden the first person in S. Next up, we have Jamie.
Going into the unknown without fear.
Jamie created their channel on August 14th of 2016 and started at the very end of the same year on December 31st. Their channel was mainly focused on storytimes, at least before, with some exceptions from time to time. Despite being in YouTube for almost 6 years, as of this recording, they only have 37 videos for now, which says a lot about how animating takes a long time. Despite the low amount of videos, their art style has changed a lot, making changes to the overall character, taking their current self as reference, as well as different types of styles overall, showcasing the improvements over the years. Their animations have different ranges for each of them. There are the storytimes of their childhood and the more recent ones of their persona. The ones focused on childhood memories were more simplistic, rather similar to other storytime animators, while the more recent years focused videos had a really unique and special animation that looked quite amazing, but obviously that takes way too much time. For the backgrounds, they aren't as detailed as some of the ones we talked about previously, but they sure look nice, and I like the colors they use for the background. Since the backgrounds aren't as detailed, the characters do stand out more. Besides that, when it comes to content, most of their storytime videos do involve quite personal topics, which I do enjoy watching alongside the visuals of their animations, as they are quite entertaining to watch. Okay, now for the thing that recently popped up. Jamie is going to stop being part of the storytime community, meaning that everything I talk about isn't going to be in the future of their channel. The reason for that is that they aren't enjoying making the content, as they feel obligated to do them, as they got caught in the storytime trend when it began. Besides, they didn't enjoy doing those videos, compared to the ones about more recent years. Aside from that, they also said that the animated content will probably be less frequent, or it will just be mixed with the in real life stuff, since they want to try new things rather than just stay at home and always be animating. In their most recent video, the only time they used the animation or drawings, it was just for the sponsor, and nothing more really. Therefore, I'm not really sure if I should consider it animation. If it's just like this for the next videos, then I guess it's no different from those who mix different styles for a single video. Taking this into account, they clearly stated how animations aren't going to be the main focus of the channel, even if they aren't completely gone. The use of them have been reduced, like the latest video where it's only used in the sponsor, which I'm not sure if will be like this for the future videos, but it doesn't look good. Therefore, for now, I'll put them in no longer uploads, mostly because that's no longer the focus of the channel and it's just a compliment. If it wasn't for that, they would have been in the middle of B, around Illy and Billy, because I really like their recent story videos more than Billy's videos, but I still like Illy's content more, therefore they are lower than her. Lastly, for this part we have KATZUN.
Has 12 million.
KATZUN created his channel on May 14th of 2017 and started a few months later on July 18th of the same year. At the beginning of his channel, KATZUN used to do more storytimes, with some exceptions from time to time, but as the time went on, his channel started having more variety and stopped focusing on mostly storytimes. His art style and animations, both together, had many changes in such a short amount of videos. It's to the point that he has changed as much as then. Okay, maybe not as much, but the frequency with which he changed the art style is almost as comparable to her. Although I do have to mention that since he doesn't do animations all the time, judging the change based on just the videos is not the best. But since it's the media where more people see his stuff, I guess it's inevitable. I guess this could also apply to them, but she changed it more in less time, so there's that. Similar to then, he made a video discussing the reason behind these changes. It's all because he hated animating in the same format he had been doing for a while, since it was always following his pre-established character. That was until the Zombie Song video, which he considered a reset where he would change his character to his liking, so that's why I can't really evaluate his art style and animations, but I will say that I like its uniqueness. It's really unique. The backgrounds, on the other hand, I can talk about. At the beginning, he didn't have many backgrounds, but the ones he used were quite nice looking. Nowadays, his backgrounds actually look really neat and unique and fit his art style quite nicely. I do remember that around the time I started watching YouTube Animators for the first time, around 2017-2018, he was one of the first ones that I watched, and I did like his videos, and I still do like them. So overall, I do think KATZUN is a good animator that everyone could see, thanks to his way of making videos being really unique and interesting. I think placing him in B between Illy and Billy is a good placement. His content has a lot of similarities with Jamie, as both had a similar way to transition their content and had more freedom after moving on from storytime, with the difference being that KATZUN's main focus is still animation, unlike Jamie. Also, since Jamie was originally going to be between Illy and Billy as well, it kinda makes sense KATZUN would too, as I would have placed them both next to each other. So, this is what we'll do for this part. This video ended up longer than expected and it's only half of the list. Why did I do this to myself? Anyhow, I think the list looks pretty nice so far, don't you think? More amazing channels than I was expecting. What are your thoughts on the list so far, and where would you place each of them? Leave it down below, I'll be sure to read them. Remember the usual, everything is linked down below, and as always, I hope you enjoyed. See you all in the next part where we'll cover the next 24 animators.